Manufacturers based in the U.S. are at an important crossroads. Technology is accelerating at an incredible pace, which is in turn driving demand for real-time data to remain agile, implement sustainable practices, and increase efficiency across production lines. At the same time, the current manufacturing workforce is experiencing a huge shift, with nearly 2.4 million existing workers set to retire within 5 years. In response to this shift in the industry, FactoryEye North America, a division of Magic Software, along with partners from TechClarity, Feyen Zylstra, Bennit, Manufacturing Works, and other manufacturing industry consultants gathered in Cleveland, Ohio, home to nearly 8,000 manufacturers, to share their knowledge about how to implement smart manufacturing practices in mid-sized manufacturing plants. Here are a few of the highlights from the talks and discussions.
We're a company that is based in California, and Cleveland was our chosen spot to kick off 2022. There's a real good reason for it. We really think this is a hotbed. This is something that is happening now.
So one of the things that we did for the manufacturing industry was to step down from sort of this higher level view of what is digital transformation. And we asked about things like the digital thread and the digital twin and Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing, and said, really, how important is that to the success and long-term profitability of your business? When you start to see numbers like this, 19% saying that it's critical and another 28% saying it's important, what we're really starting to see is people saying that this is not just another initiative in the manufacturing industry. This is not just another trend that's going to kind of come and go. This is the new way of doing things.
The panelists discussed the ways manufacturers could integrate smart manufacturing into their factories.
There are a number of different ways that manufacturers can improve productivity by implementing smart manufacturing. Looking at maintenance, how can you provide autonomous maintenance instructions to the operators on the day that they're supposed to perform a certain task? How can you get a machine that's currently down up and running faster again? How can you prevent that downtime from happening in the first place?
When companies like FactoryEye are developing products that are going to give better accessibility and information to what's happening on the floor, it's going to make manufacturers a lot more profitable and be able to make actionable decisions on their machines.
So one common theme we see across manufacturing is all around scrap and rework. Many companies think they're measuring scrap accurately, but the reality is there are a lot of data parameters that aren't being captured. We see that as one of the most manual areas of capturing data in the industry throughout the production process. We have one company, it was interesting, they recorded their scrap as 3% for almost 2 decades straight, right? It was almost folklore. This is what our scrap is. But when we started to pull in those data parameters, we really started to understand that it was nowhere near 3%. And the interesting thing was it helped them to correlate the data between what they thought they were producing and what they were actually producing and what their waste was. And then from there, we really started to analyze, what needed to be reworked and how they could bring that scrap basically back into the bottom line.
The panel also discussed the challenges of implementing Industry 4.0 for small and mid-sized manufacturers.
Just recently here in Northeast Ohio, I was talking to a chemicals company, a specialty chemicals company, who's on their path towards digital transformation. They put a system in place from a big data perspective, and they were looking at what comes next, and the plant didn't have the domain expertise to know.
And these companies are all spread very thin, and they don't have the bandwidth to think about these opportunities, so they're looking for a trusted agnostic partner to help them think about where to start. That's where FactoryEye fits perfectly. So data and information starts flowing off all this equipment, and then you need to contextualize, analyze, and push back information related to that information that's meaningful in real time.
Finally, the panelists discussed the challenges of a changing workforce.
Without a doubt, the most important problem right now is around workforce. Most of them are doing well in terms of their sales, so there's demand for their product, but they're having a hard time growing because historically what they would do is go out and hire a bunch more employees, put on a second shift, put on a third shift. And the problem is the employees aren't there now. They're having a really hard time attracting talent. Most often, they need to change the way they're doing what they're doing around workforce development to actually be successful at workforce development.
If a person's going to a manufacturer and they're using technology that doesn't even exist, that is 20 years old, they're still using a 3-ring binder to set up jobs or write down notes of how many parts they produce per hour, that's not attractive to a generation where they grew up with cell phones and iPads and access to any information they want just by a few clicks of a keyboard on their phone. What manufacturers need to do is leverage this new technology and then leveraging these newer generations to be able to look at that technology in a way that's going to allow them to have more actionable data.
The reason I thought today's event was so great was because it went beyond technology. And so I think what I came away from this today is more firmly believing that yes, software is important. Yes, data is important. But we also have to create a manufacturing culture that knows what to do with that data. How do you take that data and make actual business improvements so that it becomes technology isn't a nice to have, it's a must have because it delivers value to the bottom line.
Please contact us if you would like more information about the steps you can take to begin implementing smart manufacturing initiatives on your shop floor, or for where FactoryEye will host their next event.